Something happened before history began, not in the hand-wavy sense, in the literal sense, written on clay tablets, preserved across 6 completely separate civilizations. The oldest texts describe a real conflict, sides, strategies, a winner. But here's the question nobody really asks. What happened to the side that lost? They didn't just disappear. They were quietly repositioned, quietly written out of the story the winners told. If you know where to look, you can still find them, encoded in 6 civilizations. Today we're going through 6 ancient traditions, 6 completely separate cultures, 6 accounts of what looks like exactly the same event. And we'll look at what all those accounts agree about the losers. The consistency is more striking than it has any right to be. You're watching Beyond Explained. Every week we dig deeper into mysteries mainstream history leaves unanswered. Like and subscribe. Let's start with the most complete version, the Enuma Elish, the Babylonian creation epic, written on 7 clay tablets around 1200 BCE. It doesn't open the way most creation stories do. No peaceful God shaping a world out of love. It opens with a power struggle. 2 primordial forces, Apsu, the embodiment of deep fresh water, still, quiet, foundational, and Tiamat, salt water, vast in constant movement. Their union produces the first generation of gods. Those gods are loud, restless, and completely intolerable. Apsu decides they need to go, but Ea, the god of wisdom, finds out and neutralizes Apsu first. Swift, preemptive, done. Tiamat doesn't grieve. She mobilizes. She builds an army nobody in a comfortable creation myth would want to encounter. Serpents with venom for blood, roaring dragons, terrifying hybrid creatures. She crowns Kingu champion and hands him the Tablet of Destinies. Whoever holds it holds the constitutional authority to run the universe. It's not a metaphor. In the logic of this cosmology, the tablet is the legal title to reality itself, not symbolic, constitutional. Every god in the existing order declines to fight Tiamat, until Marduk steps forward, with one condition, win, and he becomes supreme. He wins. He splits Tiamat's body in 2. One half becomes the sky, the other the earth. Kingu is executed. That's how it ends. From Kingu's blood, humanity is created to serve and maintain the world the gods now rule. That's how humanity enters the story. Subscribe to Beyond Explained. Every week we dig into stories mainstream history tends to skip. Hit like and subscribe now. Dr. W.G. Lambert, who produced the definitive scholarly translation of this text, noted something crucial. It is structured as deliberate political propaganda. It makes Marduk's victory the precondition for reality itself. Question his right to rule. You're questioning the ground beneath your feet. That's not theology, that's architecture. The winners didn't just dominate militarily, they rebuilt the entire logic of existence around their victory. And here's what should actually stop you. This same architectural logic appears in 5 other traditions, with 0 documented contact between them. Is the Enuma Elish unique? Not even close. The Sumerians recorded the revolt of the Igigi, divine beings who refused their forced labor. The Hittites preserved the Kumarbi cycle, a brutal chain of divine coups where each ruling generation is violently overthrown by the next. The Greeks called it the Titanomachy, the great war in which the Olympians crushed the older, more primordial generation of Titans entirely. The Norse tradition carries the Assyr-Vanir War, 2 divine tribes in a conflict that ended in a merger nobody fully chose. The Vedic texts describe the war between Devas and Asuras, 2 factions with a shared origin, opposite sides of a conflict still echoing today. 6 traditions, 6 wars. One pattern. An older, more primordial order gets defeated, displaced, and written into the footnotes of a new cosmology. The Greek case is worth pausing on. The Titans didn't just predate the Olympians. They represented a fundamentally different mode of existence. Older, rawer, less defined by the rules the new order was imposing. Cronus, the Titan king, was overthrown by his own son Zeus. Different weapons, different values. The Olympians won not just by force, but by entirely redefining what divine authority was supposed to mean. But wait, here's the part that actually changes how you read all of this. The losers, across all 6 traditions, are never destroyed, not one of them. Think about what that means. You've just won a cosmic war. You have total power. Why keep the enemy around? In the Enuma Elish, King's substance becomes the raw material for humanity. The monster army is put to work maintaining the new order. In the Hittite cycle, power is absorbed. It never disappears, it only transfers. In Greek tradition, the Titans are not executed after their defeat. Not the underworld, something below it. A place specifically engineered to contain beings that simply cannot be killed. Think about that. An Atlas. Atlas used to rule the entire universe. After the war, he holds it up. Forever. That is not punishment. That is recycling. The ancient equivalent of putting a deposed general to work as a porter. Dr. Walter Burkert called this the succession myth, a universal template. An older divine order is violently replaced but never erased. The defeated remain encoded in the structure of the world the victors built. Their presence is inconvenient, so it's repositioned, but it's always still there, encoded, present, just not where you'd expect to find it. Now here's the second layer, the one most accounts leave out, and it connects all 6 traditions in a way nobody expected. In 2010, Dr. Amar Anas of the University of Tartu traced direct textual connections between 3 groups previously treated as completely separate: the Sumerian Igigi, the Babylonian Apkallu, sages credited with transmitting civilization before the flood, and the Watchers of the Book of Enoch. Same beings, different names, different texts, separated by millennia. The rebellion that started with the Igigi didn't end when humanity was created. It continued, but through an entirely different kind of strategy. Instead of refusing to serve, they changed the nature of the relationship completely. They transmitted knowledge the ruling divine order had explicitly classified as forbidden. Not wrong, forbidden. That distinction matters more than it sounds. Across all 6 traditions, the defeated beings share 4 characteristics. Every single time. 4 things. Consistent across cultures with no documented contact. First, they possess knowledge the victorious order considered dangerous. Not incorrect, but dangerous. Second, they were associated with a more primordial era. Third, they were never destroyed, only contained or repositioned, their presence encoded into the structure of the world the victors built. Fourth, they maintained a connection to humanity the new order actively worked to sever. Every tradition, same 4 things, every single time. Dr. Wendy Doniger of the University of Chicago wrote that the Deva-Asura division preserves a memory of an actual historical division in power. Not between good and evil, but 2 factions of the same original power structure. Same origin, 2 trajectories. The difference was political. So here's what all of this adds up to. An older order, powerful, primordial, deeply inconvenient to the new regime, was defeated. That defeat was then encoded into the foundation stories of at least 6 separate civilizations as something cosmically inevitable and absolutely necessary. Their knowledge was reclassified as dangerous. The texts that preserved it were hidden, excluded, or branded heretical. All of them, every tradition. But the suppression was never total. The Atrahasis epic survived. The Book of Enoch was preserved in Ethiopia for centuries after being excluded everywhere else. The Kumarbi tablets held on in Hittite archives. The Titanomachy fragments survived embedded in later Greek poetry. The record was never fully erased. The official histories, the ones the victors constructed, present their version as the complete picture, as the final answer, as the only story. The older texts disagree. They preserve something the winning cosmologies simply couldn't afford to include: the possibility that the defeated had real reasons, that the knowledge labeled dangerous was dangerous precisely because it was accurate. Which side was actually right has never been settled, not by anyone. The Enuma Elish reads like a conclusion. The text that came before it read like a case file that was never closed. What do you think was erased when the old order fell? Tell us in the comments. If this made you think, Hittite. 6 civilizations. 1 hidden war. The old order never erased. Encoded into the world we live in. Still waiting to be found. Beyond explained. Beyond explained. New mysteries every week. If this changed how you see history, leave a comment. We'll see you next investigation.